The old-school arcade games brought an amazing feeling of excitement, with pure adrenaline rushing through you as you tested your reflexes. From packed arcade rooms to movie theater corridors, these classic games left a lasting impression on millions of people. Arcades marked a special time, the beginning of video games as we know them today, and a whole new way of thinking about digital fun. They were the starting point that got countless gamers hooked. So, are you up for a trip down memory lane? Let's dive back into the retro world and relive the thrill of those classic arcade games. To understand this, we need to go way back in time, about 70 years ago to be exact. Back in 1952, the first ever video game hit the scene, called OXO. It was basically just a tic-tac-toe game you could play against the machine. From then until the 1970s, the gaming industry slowly grew, with improvements in technology and graphics, featuring games like Tennis for Two or Space War. But those early arcade machines were pretty basic, just electronic versions of board games. They were simple, with sounds and lights, nothing fancy, but still pretty cool, especially for that time. It wasn't until the 1970s that arcade games started to get more advanced. The commercial arcade scene began in 1971 with Computer Space, selling around 1,300 units. In the same year, another machine, Galaxy Game, was created but never hit the market. The breakthrough came in 1972 when Atari introduced Pong, a simple yet globally popular game. Its success showed the profitability of arcade machines, leading to a surge in industry growth. By late 1974, 15 companies in the US and Japan were producing arcade machines. The following year saw the rise of more complex games, featuring advanced graphics and sounds. This period, known as the Golden Age of arcade machines, lasted until 1982. Space Invaders, released in 1978, became a massive hit in Japan and the US, setting records as the best-selling video game of its time. It inspired similar successful games like Pac-Man, shaping the industry. The 1980s saw further growth in arcade gaming with titles like Donkey Kong. However, by 1982, player interest waned, prompting companies to make games more difficult, which ultimately led to a decline in popularity. Moreover, the rise of home gaming consoles really hurt arcades because players didn't have to keep pumping in coins to play. In 1983, there was what's called the video game crash, a big problem in the gaming industry caused by too many home consoles and games flooding the market. This crisis pretty much shut down arcades for about 8 years, although Nintendo managed to keep things going by not only making home consoles popular again, but also bringing one of its biggest games, Super Mario Bros., to arcades. But arcades didn't stay down for long. In 1985, Space Harrier wowed players with its cool 3D-like graphics and immersive feel. And just a year later, the legendary game Outrun, created by Yu Suzuki, blew everyone away with its big, colorful graphics, smooth scrolling, and a soundtrack that became a hit with a whole generation. In the 1990s, fighting games for 2 players became a big thing, taking gaming to a whole new level. We're talking about classics like Street Fighter 1 and 2. Street Fighter 2 was such a hit that it kicked off a bunch of other fighting games trying to copy its success. Mortal Kombat from 1992 was one of them. Known for its controversial violence and intense gameplay, adding its own flavor to the mix. These games marked the start of the golden age of arcade fighting games. At the same time, racing games got popular too, thanks to 3D graphics. And that's not all. Towards the end of the 90s, in 1997, Konami came out with arcade machines where you used music to control peripherals. Games like Beatmania and Guitar Freaks were born. Then in 1998, Dance Dance Revolution hit the scene. It had a dance pad, and you had to step to the beat to score points. These games were huge in Japan, where they focused a lot on this kind of stuff. And so, in a time before the internet and smartphones, arcades became a spot for people to hang out, chat, and have fun. The games, music, and chatter all blended together, creating a cool vibe. Folks made new friends there, swapped gaming stories, and even formed teams to tackle tough games together. It wasn't just about playing games, it was a whole social scene. But as we moved into the new century, arcade games started fading out. They hung on with prize redemption systems and games that offered experiences you couldn't get at home, like those cool racing games with motion simulators. The rest, as they say, is history. The widespread adoption of video game consoles, mainly since the NES boom and the third-generation consoles, means that nowadays anyone can have in their home hardware as powerful as, or even more so than, what's inside arcade machines. Why spend your hard-earned money on arcade tokens when you can play the same game as much as you want on your console or PC at home? Still, arcade games didn't just entertain, they left a lasting mark on popular culture. T-shirts featuring game characters, catchy soundtracks, and even movie adaptations showed how they influenced mainstream culture. These games also brought together communities of passionate gamers, all striving for the highest score. Even though arcade machines lost some popularity in the 90s, there were still places keeping the gaming culture alive. Recently, arcade machines have made a comeback thanks to events and places like barcades, where you can enjoy classic games along with food and drinks. In today's world of realistic graphics and massive online games, there's a cool trend that shows how much we still love classic arcade games. It's called retro gaming. It's all about going back to those old school games that shaped our gamer childhoods and made gaming what it is today. Lots of people who grew up playing these games now get to relive those memories in a fun, nostalgic way. For millions of gamers from different generations, playing those classic arcade games with their big pixels, memorable sounds, and tough challenges is like taking a trip back in time to the good old days. Those awesome machines bring back memories of spending hours trying to beat levels, mastering patterns, and competing with friends to get the high score. But retro gaming isn't just about feeling nostalgic. It's also about appreciating the simple yet captivating design and mechanics that made classics like Pac-Man, Galaga, or Dig Dug timeless favorites. Sure, these games might seem basic compared to today's standards, but their addictive gameplay, precise controls, and carefully balanced difficulty levels have made them unforgettable. That's why the online world is packed with emulators. They're essential tools for retro gaming fans who want to enjoy these classic arcade games on modern devices. Even if you have a super fancy gaming PC, you can still get that retro vibe with minimalist pixel graphics. And let me tell you, it feels great. Emulators don't just let you play the games, they also capture the entire original arcade experience. Many of them even have features to mimic classic controls, scan lines for that old school TV look, and other effects to make it feel just like the real thing. As for whether they're legal, well, that's a discussion for another time. But what really matters is reliving those moments of filling up those rooms by slamming buttons, getting back into the worlds that sparked our love for gaming. Because classic arcades weren't just where video games started, they were the heart of what it means to be a gamer. If you're young and never had the chance to stand in front of an arcade machine, we really suggest trying out some of these classics. And if you're like me, let me know in the comments what your favorite arcade classic is. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this retro trip through the gaming world, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.